Before we start, as always, this is just my personal interpretation and theories. I'm not telling you how to think or feel. This is just one interpretation of many, and all of our viewpoints are valid. So let's get started. Zayne's story is not linear. It's everything everywhere all at once, a continuum. So let's dive into why this is important. Let's first start with what a continuum is. A continuum is something that keeps on going, changing slowly over time, like the continuum of the four seasons. It blends with no clear dividing points. But existing on a continuum means existing between two different possibilities. To put it simply, think about the colour blue. Now think about the colour green. These are two different colours. Now think about all of the possibilities when you blend them together. This is a continuum. And because we are in a multiverse, everything is happening at the same time. I believe the title Edge of Continuum might refer to this myth being an origin point of sorts. Remember, there isn't really a start, but this helps me to understand Zayne's lore a little better, and it might help you. And that's why I believe in the next myth we'll be introduced to this concept in more detail. Or at least I hope we will. Now I want to take you guys back to the time lock key event we had. There's an excerpt that I found particularly interesting in Zayne's Fates Entwined. It's as if a rift in the universe opened for just a second. He sees himself walking across the torrent of time. I believe Zayne has the ability to traverse these timelines in his highest form. Now, I want to show you guys this. I think the triangle represents the convergence of the past, present, and future, and all these link to different versions of Zayne. So we have past, God of Annihilation, future, Foreseer, and present, Dr. Zayne. These all relate to the questions that Master of Fate answers for us: romance, Dr. Zayne; wisdom, Foreseer; and wealth, God of Annihilation. Let's look at the answer he gave for wealth. Master of Fate tells us of a treasure that MC has as the answer to this question. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a reference to a treasure of sorts in the myth, whether that's her power, her heart, a protocol, their love, whatever it is. To push this theory further, let's look back at the Adventure Above the Clouds event story with Zayne. Now, before we get into this, just a massive shout out to my friend Sev. She's the one who found the link between this event and the third myth. So major props to her. Thank you so much, Sev. In the story, MC and Zayne are tasked with finding a treasure, the sun. Towards the end of the story, MC thinks the sun could be Zayne and he says the sun is MC. Zayne also says maybe they've already found the treasure in that case. It's a sweet moment, but moments later, MC sees a lake shaped like the sun. It's a hot spring. In my opinion, this event foreshadowed Edge of Continuum. Also, the last thing Zayne says is,
That is your wish. Then snow will fall just for you, even in the middle of summer. With winter's emissary by your side, every snowflake will remember your name.
As we saw in the trailer, snow falls even as the sun is out. Finally, I noted in my previous video that I believe the perfect child story in the Fractal Library Q&A also related to wealth, and Zayne's third myth because a wealthy individual created a perfect child. I also spoke about how this related to Galen and the Chinese myth of Shenong. So that's why I believe this triangle imagery is so consistent throughout all of MC and Zayne's stories. It's the convergence of all of the Zaynes. Now, let's talk about how Master of Fate's myth might relate to Edge of Continuum. Zayne seals MC's destructive power away. When MC awakes, she does not know how long she has been sleeping for, but she notes that her power is being suppressed and she cannot see or sense anything divine anymore, like Zayne and Bai. In addition, when she falls asleep, she had been sleeping on a blanket of snow, and when she wakes up, it's spring and the snow is gone. Now, remember how obsessed I was with this transition in the trailer? I believe this is a hint that the timelines are merging or bleeding together in some way. To make this simpler to understand, I'll refer to Edge of Continuum's MC as Goddess MC, and Edge of Continuum as EOC. I'll refer to Snow's Embrace's Zayne as Master of Fate. So, here's my proposed theory. In EOC, Zayne gives Goddess MC the power of immortality and annihilation, her destructive power. At the end, she gives it back, including all of her power to save Zayne. And she turns into ice. Suddenly, the sun disappears and it's snowing. At the same time this happens, in Snow's embrace, Master of Fate is sealing MC's destructive power away. This is the moment Goddess MC is giving her power back to Zayne in EOC. Only this time, it's Master of Fate in Snow's embrace using all of his power to do this. The snow that never melts is the snow we see in EOC. The spring and winter switch places after this. The spring moves to Snow's embrace and the snow moves to EOC's timeline. I think MC is effectively kind of reborn again when she wakes up in Snow's embrace after Goddess MC dies in EOC. MC wakes up without her powers, just as she died in EOC without her powers. Finally, Zayne kisses MC in EOC as she dies and turns to ice. In Snow's embrace, at the same time, a single white flower falls onto MC's hand. Now, remember how in Tower of Secrets, Forcia's memories are erased, but he always remembers leaning down to kiss a jasmine flower? I believe that's referencing GOA kissing Goddess MC at the end of EOC. So quite literally, the jasmine encased in ice is MC herself. Now, this is a really early theory, and it could be completely wrong. So take that with a pinch of salt, okay, guys? So, let's talk more about how Edge of Continuum could relate directly to Tower of Secrets. First, the Divine Tower. Both towers end up in ruins. We could also be seeing a sort of bleed in reality here as well, the same events repeating themselves. Perhaps Astra rebuilt this tower on Philos and made it Forcia's prison for defying his fate. At first, Forcia was giving out prophecies as he usually did. However, when we start the myth, we learn that he stopped giving prophecies and was chained to his throne. I think this is when Master of Fate made his choice to protect MC instead of killing her, and at the same time, the God of Annihilation chose to be with MC and completed the ritual, going against whatever cosmic law or even Astra had decreed for them. So, when he did this, Astra chained Forcia to his throne with the very brambles from the sacred tree he used to help seal MC's powers, ironically sealing Forcia with the very thing sealing MC's power. It also stands to reason that Forcia is a demigod because it looks like God of Annihilation fell from the heavens to the mortal realm to try and save MC, thus making him a demigod and giving Astra the power to wipe Forcia's memories. I also had a theory that Astra might have relegated him to the role of demigod if Astra is an all-powerful god with the power to do that. I also think it's possibly because MC gives him all her power, and somehow that makes him a demigod. In addition, Astra set the condition that Zayne would be punished if he dared to think about leaving, likely relating to the events of the third myth, in which he jumped from godhood to the mortal realm to try and save MC. I have also talked about how the Tower of Thorns is a literal prison for Forcia for defying Astra's will. Now, this might be a little mind-bending, and this is where it gets complicated. I think Forcia was the one who made her a supergod by giving her the Creatio Protocol. Remember, that protocol belonged to Astra, it was Astra's power, and Zayne gave it to her. Now, when she appears in Snow's embrace, I think she might have the Creatio Protocol already within her. And that is why Astra knows she will appear, and Zayne must get rid of her. I also had a theory that Master of Fate was sealing the protocol away at the end. Now, do you guys remember this from the main story? It looks like Zayne is sealing or unsealing what looks like a protocol. Could this be the Creatio Protocol? I'm not sure, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I find it quite interesting. Now, moving on, let's talk about Forcia's design here. Now first, the ice brambles, as we've just discussed, are from Master of Fate's myth. And the sun-like halo above his head is what we see in both the GOA myth and event story. So these are representations of his two sins, and Forcia is the punished version of Zayne. Okay guys, so for this last part I wanted to throw out other things we might see. Now you know I'm not the biggest fan of this theory, but I think it's inevitable that Astra will make an appearance in this myth, or at least I hope he does. I will be very disappointed if we don't learn more about Astra. So, is Astra Zayne? Possibly. There are a lot of moments in which we can interpret that Astra is Zayne. Zayne is effectively at war with himself. But I want to wait to see which direction they're going to go in with this. I just wanted to mention it in this video because if it turns out it's true, then there's going to be a lot to discuss. And if it turns out my entire theory is completely wrong, then we need to discuss it in an upcoming video. But again, I'm still not sure about that theory because I really love the theory that Astra is part of a celestial bureaucracy, as that ties into Chinese mythology. But I will say this, guys, if Astra is Zane, then I really trust the writers to make it an incredibly explosive reveal. So I'm expecting a major plot twist if that's the case, but a plot twist that doesn't introduce plot holes and make us wonder how on earth are Zane and MC going to be Astra if Astra is Zane. Now, finally, guys, let's talk about the song that MC sings to Forseer in their myth. Now, I want you to think about what we saw in the third myth trailer. This is the song. To the afterglow cries cosmic demise, our world in deceptive amber paradise. In these sands of time, my frozen bouquet awaits. With your gaze so full of wonder, I hold four jasmines asunder. His secrets revealed. Hark the bard, O legends unfold, this distant tale they sing to you. Unspoken desires, sincere and true. A jasmine in time's embrace. A fragrant aria, a moment's grace. The four jasmines could represent both MC and Zane. Dr. Zayne's MC, GOA's MC, MOF's MC, and Forseer's MC. I also mentioned that MC could be the jasmine herself. A jasmine in time's embrace. The moment Zayne is hugging her as she dies and becomes part of the frozen bouquet. Also, that deceptive amber paradise once again reminds me of the wealth story that we got in the Fractal Library Q&A. The amber imagery also reminds me of all the gold imagery that we've seen in the third myth trailer. And of course, the sands of time, the environment we see in the third myth. Okay, guys, now I'm fully expecting to be completely wrong with all of this, but it's always fun to throw these theories out there and see what you guys think. Anyway, have a beautiful time zone, guys, and as always, stay frosty.